Classical Chinese medicine presents an essential and frequently obscured concept. It helps us grasp the full psycho-emotional spectrum of human existence. The Five Shen. This is not merely an abstract medical model, it's a profound map of the human interior. While the term Shen, or the concept of Shen, often translated as spirit, more on that in a minute, is ancient, its earliest definitive articulation of the five spirits, the Five Shen, tied explicitly to the five zong, or yin organs, is found in the Huangdi Neijing Suwen, Yellow Emperor's Classic, Inner Canon. Basic Questions, Chapter 23. This is the oldest textbook in Chinese medicine. This text establishes the five phases, or five elements, correspondence that bind the human microcosm to the macrocosm of the Tao. To translate the term Shen as spirit or soul is to immediately invoke a constellation of misleading and often jarring Judeo-Christian concepts. These are not only inadequate, but fundamentally out of place and misleading. Shen can be spirit. It can also be deity or God, but often functions simply as mind. The five Shen are not separate entities housed within the body. They are fundamental, interactive facets of the self. The five Shen is what makes you, you. The five Shen are Shen, Hun, Po, Yi, and Zhi. Each one of these is correlated to a yin organ, a direction, a planet, a color, an element, and an emotion. To truly grasp the five Shen, one must move beyond mere definitions and see them as a dynamic, living system, an inner pantheon where each Shen plays a critical and distinct role. These five aspects of the self are not separate entities, but emanations of a singular Tao, of a singular you, a singular aspect of the universe. They combine and interact with each other, forming the complexities of the individual. Our journey begins with the Shen, or the Jin Shen, heart-mind, the emperor of the self. Seated in the heart, the Shen is the ultimate seat of consciousness, intellect, and the analytical mind. It is the brilliant light of recognition, the accumulation of all our knowledge and experience. Memory is not merely a neural function. In Chinese medicine, it's stored in the Luo channels, in the very blood that pumps through the veins. This blood houses our memories, our knowledge, and it's moved through and processed by the heart. The Shen is the thinking, calculating aspect of self, intrinsically tied to explicit memory. Its primary function is one of governance. As the ultimate ruler, the Shen coordinates and communicates with all of the ministers, the other four Shen, to ensure harmony in the kingdom. When the emperor is stable, the result is lucidity of thought, a clear, bright gaze, and a robust, grounded sense of identity. Yet, if the Shen is unbalanced, the mind becomes cloudy, thinking is unclear, and emotions can erupt into a state of destructive, uncontrolled overjoy, or mania. The emperor's intention is directed by the Yi, the immediate mind, which is bound to the spleen. The Yi is pure intention, focus, awareness. It is the state achieved by the master artisan or musician who is utterly lost in the creative moment, acting beyond consciousness and calculated thought, or the athlete so absorbed in the game they can't think about the technique they're using to get the ball on the other side of the line. This is the mind that is active when we are in the flow state, and it's intrinsically related to implicit memory. The core axiom of Taoist cultivation is where the Yi goes, the Qi follows. When balanced, the E grants creative fluency, clear intent, and a profound inner calm. Without this balance, however, the mind spirals into obsessive, pensive, debilitating rumination and fixation on trivialities. You know, that inner dialogue that just won't shut up when you're trying to go to sleep. The E's intention is then backed by the iron resolve of Zhi, volition, willpower. The will to act is housed in the depths of the kidneys. The Zhi is pure willpower, the fundamental drive, the sheer, unmoving push required to overcome inertia and accomplish the task. It's the spirit that compels one to start the journey, and more critically, to maintain continuity and perseverance when the unexpected threatens to derail the path. When the Zhi is robust, it grants the resolve to venture into the unknown. When it falters, it opens the door to passive resignation, emotional apathy, and the paralyzing fear that prevents any forward motion. Complementary to the soaring spirit of the Hun is the grounded material essence of the Po, the corporeal essence, which finds its home in the lungs. The Po represents the primal, animalistic, instinctual, and physical aspects of the human being. It's the most immediate life force, born with the first breath and vanishing with the last. It guides our basic survival mechanisms and provides the unique, distinguishing yin blueprint of one's life. When balanced, the Po grants clear instincts, appropriate reactions, and the capacity to process the inevitable give and take of existence, enabling one to live fully in the now. Yet, the loss of this balance leads to unresolved grief, a deep sense of unfulfillment, and instinctual reactions that prove self-destructive. The ethereal dreamer, or the Hun, is the part of us that bridges the earthly and the eternal, residing in the liver. The Hun is the most abstract. It's often described as the dreaming soul. It's the active yang, dynamically tethered to the material yin of the Po. This is the part of us that travels during dreams and is essentially, it's the essential spirit that continues after death. It allows for creativity and a deep feeling of belonging. When the Hun is balanced, we manifest our dreams into reality and feel connected to the world. When it's unbound, we experience dysphoria, separation, and a disconnectedness that manifests as destructive anger or rage. The Five Shen can be used as practical alchemy of self-knowledge. These concepts are ultimately an attempt to articulate the ineffable architecture of the Tao in human form. True comprehension of the Five Shen can't be found in a book or an academic definition. After all, the way that can be spoken of is not the true way, says the Tao Te Ching. True gnosis is learned through visceral truth of pain, happiness, loss, and love. Experiencing life, go out and touch grass. There's a practical utility in understanding this framework for self-understanding and cultivation. The framework provides a precise vocabulary that moves beyond vague feelings. For instance, being paralyzed by inaction is understood as a pathology of the Zhi, of volition, tied to the kidney system. The system's emotion is fear, allowing you to address the root issue instead of merely labeling yourself as lazy. What's really holding you back? What are you afraid of? When you experience excess worry and rumination, a pathology of E, the framework indicates the solution is not more intellectual effort. Instead, it directs you to ground the spleen or the earth element through mindful meditation or focused physical action to quiet the inner dialogue. The journey to mastery is one of self-observation and reflection. Do not struggle to understand, rather use the knowledge to observe yourself, your reactions, and your body's subtle messages. Simply be awake, be alive, and be at peace. Oh, and subscribe.